Get ready for Changing Worldviews with Sharon Hughes, the 30-minute show packed with an hour's worth of information, bringing you familiar guests on important issues such as immigration, education, the Middle East, culture, religion, and the changing worldviews of Americans and the world. You've seen her on Fox News, you've read her on the World Wide Web. Now here's Sharon.
For such a time as this.
Freeing the minds of the brainwashed masses.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to this edition of Changing Worldviews. Today, National Security Advisor Susan Rice, making her first Sunday morning appearance since the Sunday after the 2012 Benghazi attacks, said she has no regrets on her words regarding Benghazi, quote, because what I said to you that morning and what I did every day since is to share the best information that we had at the time. The Obama administration warned Russian President Vladimir Putin on Sunday to keep its military out of the Ukraine. In the meantime, Chuck Hagel, Defense Secretary, is due to decrease the size of the U.S. Army to its lowest levels since before World War II. Among his plans to reduce the troop level in the Army from its high of 570,000, the number recorded just after the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks on American soil, to 440,000, the smallest since 1940. Meanwhile, Russian President Putin poses as a defender of Christian civilization. During the 2014 Winter Olympic Games, the Russian President, Vladimir Putin, asserting himself on the international stage, now reportedly is planning to preside over a major Moscow conference sponsored by the World Congress of Families, a pro-family coalition. Putin, who is recently divorced and is said to have a mistress, will present himself as a defender of the Christian faith and Christian values in contrast to the decline and decadence of the West.
Wow.
American preachers, it turns out, are more than a little bit uneasy about religious liberty these days. A survey from Nashville-based Lifeway Research found 7 out of 10 senior pastors at Protestant churches say religious liberty is on the decline in America. About 7 in 10 also say Christians have lost or are losing the culture war. And that's what we're going to be talking about on today's show.
You're listening to Sharon Hughes, coming to you from the Wild, Wild West, and we mean wild.
Thanks for staying with us, ladies and gentlemen. It was Benjamin Franklin who said, quote, a nation of well-informed men who have been taught to know and prize the rights which God has given them cannot be enslaved. It is in the religion of ignorance that tyranny begins. Many Christian leaders have talked about society being in a culture war, and regardless of how you may feel about terminology, how would you explain the current situation? That was a question asked of pastors in regards to are religious liberties in decline in America? And are Christians winning or losing the culture war? 59% said that Christians are losing the culture war. Only 10% say Christians are winning the culture war. 19% say they don't know. According to Lifeway Research, in the 1960s, nearly 2/3 of Americans were Protestant. Today, they make up less than half of the population. In the past, Christians, and Protestants in particular, took it for granted that Americans would look to the church for guidance on moral issues. Churches were seen as being good for society, and so they were given special privileges like exemptions from taxes and other laws. Even if people didn't go to church, they looked to the church. That's no longer the case, as the government and culture no longer defer to the church, which makes pastors and their congregations nervous. They feel like in some way there was a pact made at the founding of this country between God and America, and that pact has been broken. So what about you? Do you believe that America's religious liberties are in decline? Well, there's a new movie coming out in May entitled Persecuted. It's a Christian film, and our very own Brad Stine, who hosts PC Free Zone, actor and comedian, stars in the film, which depicts an America where religious liberties are rapidly disappearing. And unfortunately, it's not futuristic, but really mirrors the America of today. I think it's great news that this movie is coming out. As a matter of fact, the movie Son of God is coming out in a week. There's another one, Alone But Not Alone. There's another one coming out entitled God Is Not Dead. There's the movie Noah. 2014 may very well be the year with the most nationally released Christian films. I don't know, but I'm happy to see the movie Persecuted come out to address this issue of religious liberties. And I want to ask the question, how did the land of the free get to where we are today? Well, they try to address that issue in the movie Persecuted. Here, listen to the trailer.
There are those who claim that your ministry is intolerant and may even threaten the freedom of others.
Freedom is fragile and costly and must be defended by work and by faith, and even by blood.
Now, your ministry reaches more people than the evening news, and I need you to get up there and announce that you fully support this bill.
I cannot water down the gospel to advance anybody's political agenda.
All this talk of persecution, it's gonna die, and who's gonna be left standing? You are!
You cannot legislate the power of God.
He's not on board.
Mr. Luther, do you mind if we get a picture with my daughter?
Big smile. Excellent.
The girl is dead, John. They're saying that you killed her.
I didn't kill anybody.
They're watching for you.
I didn't know where else to go.
You're going to be charged with first-degree murder.
I just want to see justice served.
I need your help.
Your husband is a fugitive.
He is coming home to this family.
I have a dream to unite the traditions of faith with one voice.
The arms of God aren't as far away as you might think.
Mr. President, John Luther is entirely your misfortune.
People are looking for a symbol. We'll get back up when they're knocked down.
Get your people out there and do so quietly.
They can't silence the truth.
If you take away a man's right to speak his mind in a country founded on that very principle, you don't really have a country now, do you?
Well, as I mentioned, Brad Stine stars in the movie along with Gretchen Carlson of Fox News and Grammy Award winner Natalie Grant, as well as Fred Thompson, Dean Stockwell, and others. It's a story about a modern-day evangelist named John Luther, played by James Remar, who starred in X-Men and other movies. In Persecuted, Luther is the last holdout for a national endorsement to make sweeping reform and freedom of speech. And as the government is mandating political correctness while covertly waging a war against religious organization, a U.S. senator, portrayed by Bruce Davidson of Lost, along with his political allies, create a sinister plan of denial and scandal to frame John Luther. And so his normal life is turned upside down as he becomes a fugitive, vowing to expose those responsible. It's a mission that brings him face to face with the coming storm of persecution that will threaten the moral ethics and freedoms of America. According to another study, more than half Americans, or 57%, believe that religious freedom has become more restricted in the United States because some groups have actively tried to move society away from traditional Christian values. This opinion is more common among practicing Catholics, 62%, and Protestants, 76%, and is nearly a universal perception among evangelicals, 97%. Slightly more than 31% of Americans believe, quote, the gay and lesbian community is the most active group trying to remove Christian values from the country. The study also found that younger Americans in general are much less concerned about religious liberty issues. Among practicing Christians, 19% of those between the ages of 18 and 28 are very concerned about religious freedoms becoming more restrictive, and just 12% firmly contend that gay and lesbian advocates have been the most active group trying to remove Christian values. So 19 and 12% is quite a difference between 57% of older adults. Well, we're going to take a break here, and when we come back, I want to play for you a segment of Brad Stine's PC Free Zone that airs every fourth Sunday on Changing Worldviews on our online live stream show. I mean, the movie Persecuted is perfect for Brad because the things that he is most concerned about as a Christian American has to do with political correctness and how it is tearing down our nation and allowing for the loss or the decline of religious liberties. He definitely is a funny guy, but has a way of making poignant points about the truth on such issues. So stay with me. We'll be right back.
The whole point of a socialistic society is to do four things. Marx talks about destroying the family, 2, destroying property, 3, destroying religion, and 4, destroying the nation. And what you end up with is the gulag, where the whole country becomes the Soviet Union.
Yes, critical theory is diabolical genius. The cultural Marxist could accomplish what Marx, Lenin, Trotsky, and Stalin only dreamed of accomplishing. Whereas Lenin, Trotsky, and Stalin took Marx's ideas and delivered the brutal Soviet Union to the world, Gramsci, Lukács, and Marcuse took Marx's ideas and delivered user-friendly cultural Marxism to America.
Exposing the worldviews behind the political, cultural, and ideological wars being waged in our nation and world, Sharon packs an hour's worth of information into every half hour with news you can use.
Academia is often the wellspring of race hatred. This is something that we need to recognize. Eugenics, indeed, was a campaign to create a master race by do-gooders and progressives. They were attempting to create a utopia.
What's ending up happening is that Christians who say, I don't care about issues, they realize that's what's being used to silence the gospel. If they can silence the truth, they will silence the gospel.
You're being a watchwoman on the wall, Sharon. I say that with all sincerity. Appreciate what you're doing to sound the alarm, and we need more shows like yours.
Changing Worldviews gets funded entirely through the tax-deductible donations of our supporters. If you've not done so already, renew your active support today. And if you're new to Changing Worldviews, would you consider helping us with the donation, becoming a monthly partner to help get the truth out and tell the world the side of the story that mainstream media doesn't report? Thank you so much ahead of time for supporting our efforts.
Coming up on our next edition of Changing Worldviews is
internationally acclaimed author Thomas Horn and retired police investigator Terry Cook revealed the prophetic events unfolding around the world and how people should be preparing for the arrival of the Antichrist, how the mark of the beast will appear overnight. Discover how by 2017 every employed worker in the United States will be required to have a biometric ID. Understand the significant implications behind the approaching cashless society, the disturbing facts leading up to the new government push for immigration reform, a Trojan horse for a mandatory biometric ID system without which nobody will be allowed to buy or sell. Learn the truth behind the impending loss of privacy and constitutional rights in association with government surveillance and how it's hidden within the agenda of the coming Antichrist.
Don't miss any of our shows this week right here on KDIA. Thanks for staying with me, everyone. Okay, so here is just a part of Brad Stine's PC Free Zone radio show that airs every fourth Sunday on our Changing Worldviews Radio Network, part of our online live stream show, as a way to introduce you to Brad and his show, but also to give you a flavor or a feel for who he is as one of the actors in the upcoming movie Persecuted on May 9th. Here's that.
Yay! This is Brad Stine. I am God's Comic, and you have in fact landed on the PC Free Zone. PC Free, you might be saying. Some of you might be in awe. Some of you might be frightened. Some of you in Berkeley might have had a heart attack. Because Lord knows, to say something that's PC Free would be blasphemy. But not in this case. You see, I have made a living as a professional comedian trying to teach people how not to be politically correct. What do I mean by that? Why would someone fear being politically correct? I mean, isn't that really the religion of America? Isn't that really the idol, the totem, the God, the entity, the being that we worship? Because listen, any society that's valuable, any society that is able to create buildings and cars and technology and is aware of the environment and tries to make a place for people to live that is safe and a place where their children can be educated and can learn. Any place like that has laws that are just and apply to everybody equally, and that no man is given an extra burden or an extra right, but in fact we're all equal in the eyes of God, or in the case of this administration, the eyes of the state. Shouldn't that particular group of people or government, or however you want to frame it, have some rules, have some expectations for its citizenry? And shouldn't there be an arbiter when we go askew, so that we can make sure that they get back on the straight and narrow and we control them? But what is the difference between the state controlling us and God controlling us? Well, God is different, because God gives you the rules, gives you the opportunity to go and participate in the rules. He also gives you the opportunity to not do the rules, to walk away from the rules, and eventually you pay a price for that, or even while you're still alive, you might pay a price for that thing. There you do reap. So, but God is a gentleman, and He allows you to disagree and to go your own way and see how that works out for you. But the state isn't quite as gracious as God. The state demands that you agree with their point of view. And remember, they're smarter than you. Remember, the state is more important than you. Remember that the family of the liberal ideology is your true family, not your children. Matter of fact, give your children to them, and they alone will raise them and give them back to you. Little robots with little robot heads and little brains that actually will turn you in if you're not obeying. You see, liberal ideology, and this is not about anti-liberal, anti-conservative, Republican, Democrat. Anybody can play that game. I'm talking about real ideas. And the truth is, and I'm in the PC free zone, all I have is the truth. Liberal ideology is oppressive. It makes slaves out of your conscience, which is evil. The sacred text in the Bill of Rights, the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law establishing religion or forbidding the free exercise thereof. Now, why was that the first line? Even though it says that we have a free press, even though it says that we can petition our government without getting shot, even though it says that we can protest peacefully, and these are all wonderful free speeches, but why did the Founding Fathers say that our conscience and our religion would be the first freedom we were given? Because that's your conscience. Because that's your right and wrong. That's your good and bad. That's your moral worldview. And that can never be stolen, because they can steal from you that which belongs to you, given by God. Then they will own you, control you, and you will in fact be an intellectual slave. Because trust me, my friend, somebody will always be the leader, making all the money and pulling the strings, while you are left as a puppet to simply be privileged that you're even in America. How dare they take these things from us and act as though they've done us a favor? We need to stop that and change that. This is Brad Stine, God's Comic on PC Free Zone.
So I encourage you to go to changingworldviews.com if you don't already get our email newsletter, and sign up at the top of the page. It's free. That way you'll find out ahead of time the guests, the topics, the shows that are coming up for each week, as well as my show here on this station. We have to take a break here. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Wow, radio couldn't get any better.
This is Cliff Kincaid of Accuracy in Media. I strongly recommend that you support the radio show of Sharon Hughes as an alternative source of good, reliable, and accurate information.
Incoming message.
Wow! All I can say is wow!
If you could read some of the emails, they're so heartening, and it's really a work that's become very effective. And so I would like to take this opportunity to just appeal to you to support Changing Worldviews. Go to the website, changingworldviews.com, click on the donate page, become a monthly partner, even if it's only $15 a month. You know, that's $15 a month, helps Sharon stay on the air and helps cover the cost. It is money that is invested in our future, our meaning not Sharon's and mine, but ours as a nation. So it helps to get the message out. Consider supporting us. If you think about it, you go have a latte, it's $5. So 3 lattes a month would support Changing Worldviews in a big way. So I encourage you to go to the website and click on donate and make the commitment. Thank you so much.
I'd like to encourage you to get a hold of this month's special offer. Not only do you get a great resource, but it also helps us pay for airtime. And this month, for a donation of $25 or more to Changing Worldviews, I would love to send you the 4-part series on CD, What Every American Needs to Know About the Quran, with modern-day historian and author William Federer. It's one of our most popular listened to shows online as we talk about a history of Islam and the United States and what that means.
It would catapult the heads of the Christians into the city like cannonballs, the ones that he had killed. I mean, wow. And he saw himself as literally killing the infidel. He thought he was serving Allah. So the thing is that when people say, well, jihad is just this personal struggle, it's like, where were you 1,400 years ago? Why didn't you tell Muhammad and the caliphs that it was just supposed to be a personal struggle? Obviously, the historical record of the last 1,400 years shows that the majority of Muslims have viewed it as a literal submission, conquering of the world.
Again, for a donation of $25 or more this month, your gift to Changing Worldviews will go directly to pay for airtime, and I would love to send you this outstanding resource. And you can get it by sending your check to Changing Worldviews, P.O. Box 750-624, Petaluma, California, 94975-0624, or you can order it online by going to changingworldviews.com, click on the donate button, one-time donation, and put in William Federer special offer. People are really enjoying having it.
Some years after Marx failed, several of his disciples got a new idea on how to take over the world. One of his disciples, Antonio Gramsci, while, where else but in prison, wrote up a series of plans, now known as the Prison Notebooks. In this plan, Gramsci announced the workers of the world will unite only after the Long March is over. The Long March?
In other words, they had to get into the culture and change the way of people's thinking. And if people were thinking about patriotism and nation and God and country, that was a mechanism which was too resistant to Marxism. It could never take hold. So you had to erode and destroy that in the individuals. That began what's called the Long March through the institutions, through the seminaries, through the churches, through the media, through Hollywood, and all the rest of it, to create an anti-Christian culture which would destroy the Christian beliefs and convictions in the vast majority of the people, so they would embrace the ideas of Marxism, and they would embrace the ideas that they had rejected, and they would be open to a takeover, basically, by Marxists. Now, not political Marxists, but cultural Marxists.
Well, according to the Family Research Council, the top 5 threats to your religious freedom and values are, number 1, Obamacare's assault on values, freedom, and family finances. Number 2, the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, which could be better labeled Discrimination Against Christians in the Workplace Act, and would make it a federal offense to refuse to hire an applicant based on sexual orientation, meaning that Christian bookstores, daycare centers, whatever, could be forced to hire cross-dressers or practicing homosexuals, even if the behavior violated basic standards, such as dress codes. Number 3, top threat to your religious freedom, according to the Family Research Council, is attacks on natural marriage. In other words, marriage between a man and a woman. Number 4 is attacks on religious freedom across the board as relates to our military or in education, the workplace, government employees, even against churches and ministries. The hottest attack is in the military, where chaplains, servicemen and women, and officers are under fire for, in some cases, just holding biblical views of marriage. And number 5, the fallout from President Obama's political desperation. Family Research Council says that the political disaster from Obamacare has set the president's approval ratings and his political clout spiraling down. And what will he do? The answer could be a seizure of power using constitutionally dubious and lawless tactics through new IRS rules, executive orders, regulations that violate and go beyond current law, manipulating the Senate to confirm activist judges and other measures. They go on to say that such moves are dangerous to our form of government and to all freedoms. Well, how did we get here? One of the ways is through political correctness. America, by and large, has adopted, has embraced, has included, has allowed political correctness to be part of the filter system that they look through to make decisions. That's one of the reasons that Brad Stine, comedian and actor, has entitled his radio show here at Changing Worldviews Radio Network, The PC Free Zone, and hammers the issue over and over and over again. And now for my closing thoughts. Well, some of you, no doubt, have heard about this before, but it does definitely relate to our topic today as we round it up. The reason we call the show Changing Worldviews is to point out the changing worldviews that are occurring in our world today, and to help inform about what the worldviews are behind the issues, to help us better understand positions that we want to take when oftentimes the lines are not so clear because of the rhetoric and the political posturing and so forth. But someone put this together years ago, and it still stands true today, and it goes like this. The average age of the world's greatest civilizations from the beginning of history has been about 200 years. During those 200 years, nations always progressed from the following sequence: from bondage to spiritual faith, from spiritual faith to great courage, from courage to liberty, from liberty to abundance, from abundance to complacency, from complacency to apathy, from apathy to dependence, from dependence back into bondage. So, where are we on that scale, ladies and gentlemen? Where is America today? At any point, we can stop and turn around and go back. We don't have to get all the way back into bondage before we turn back to what? Spiritual faith that leads to courage, that then leads to liberty, and then abundance. It's never too late to turn around. The question is, will we? And what part will each of us play to get us back on track? I encourage you to stay tuned every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday here on KDIA, and then, of course, on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday for our online live streamed show. In the meantime, let me encourage you to stay aware, stay alert, because we are not only living in a changing world, but we need to be informed and know what's going on, and we also need to educate those in our family, our friends, and spheres of influence. And so until I see you next time, this is Sharon Hughes, saying it like it is.
Thanks for listening to Changing Worldviews with Sharon Hughes. You can get more information on today's topic or order a CD of today's show by visiting changingworldviews.com or writing us at Changing Worldviews, P.O. Box 750624, Petaluma, California, 94975-0624. You can also contact us at talk@changingworldviews.com. That's talk@changingworldviews.com. Our program is listener-supported, and we appreciate your tax-deductible donations to help us get the truth out on the important issues Sharon addresses on the show. So until next time, remember, stay alert, stay informed. We live in a changing world.